Hey there, and welcome back to English in Advance, the place where we get to live and breathe this language, making it a natural part of who we are. I'm your host, Jennifer, and I'm honestly so happy you're here with me today. You know, there's this feeling, a shared human experience that I hear about from so many of you. It's that little lump in your throat, that quick flush in your cheeks, the exact moment you see someone you want to talk to, but your brain just hits a wall. You think, what if I can't find the right words? What if my grammar's all over the place? What if they don't get my accent? That feeling, that moment of sheer panic, can feel like a huge barrier, separating you from a new connection, a potential friend, or a great opportunity. It can make you choose silence over conversation, and that, my friends, is a real shame because every single chat is a chance to make your world a little bigger. I totally get it because I've been there myself. In fact, I've got a story for you. A while back, my best friend had this big birthday party, and she invited a bunch of her coworkers who I'd never met. I'm a native English speaker, sure, but I'm also kind of shy sometimes, especially around new people. So I spent the first half hour just standing by the snack table, pretending to be really interested in a bowl of pretzels. I was basically avoiding eye contact with everyone. I felt like I was in my own little bubble. Then my friend's boss, a really friendly woman named Sarah, came over and said, "Hey, Jennifer, are you just going to hang out with the pretzels all night?" Because they're a good crowd, but they're not much for conversation. We both just cracked up laughing. Her simple, human like comment totally broke the ice. She didn't make me feel weird or awkward. She just opened the door for a little chat. We ended up talking for a while, and it was a great reminder that people aren't looking for a perfect performance. They're just looking for a genuine connection. Today, we're going to build on that idea. We're going to give you the toolkit you need to talk to anyone with confidence. This isn't just a lesson, it's a deep dive. A complete guide to rewiring your mindset and giving you the practical human tools for starting, maintaining, and gracefully ending a conversation. This entire session is designed not just to teach you, but to empower you. It's a space where you can let go of the fear of messing up and embrace the joy of simply connecting with another person. So take a deep, centering breath with me right now. Relax your shoulders, uncross your arms, and let's get into it. Our journey starts in a place you might not expect: our minds. The biggest thing that gets in the way of speaking with confidence isn't a lack of vocabulary or an accent. It's the feeling that a conversation is a high pressure, make or break situation, and we're being judged on our performance. We feel like we gotta get every single word right, use the perfect tense, and have a super witty comeback ready to go. But let's be real. A conversation is not a test, it's a shared journey. It's a bit like two people building with Legos. One person puts down a red brick, and you can either add another red brick or maybe a blue one, or you can ask, "Where's this building headed?" The goal isn't to build a perfect house by yourself. It's to enjoy the process of building it together. The most successful communicators aren't the ones who never stumble, they're the ones who are cool with stumbling. They see a mistake not as a major failure, but as just a little bump in the road. The first and most crucial step to confidence is to shift your focus from the fear of messing up to the desire to connect with another human being. When your goal is to build a bridge, not a perfect sculpture, the pressure just melts away. You're no longer focused on what you might be doing wrong, but on what you're discovering about them and what you're sharing about yourself. Let's try a little exercise together to really feel this shift. I want you to close your eyes for a moment and imagine a conversation with someone you really admire. Now, imagine they ask you about something you are incredibly passionate about. Maybe it's your favorite type of music, the story of how you first got into your hobby, or the most beautiful place you've ever been to. What would you tell them? What feelings would you want to share? Don't worry about the English for a second. Just feel that excitement, that rush of wanting to share your world with them. That's the feeling we want to bring to every single chat. That's the feeling that makes words just flow, and it's the heart of genuine confidence. Now, let's open our eyes and get down to business. The hardest part of any conversation is often the very beginning. How do you start? The key is to have a few simple, natural sounding openers ready, not as rigid scripts, but as flexible tools in your conversational toolkit. The goal isn't a perfect sentence, but a simple phrase that opens the door, that gets the ball rolling. You've got to be mindful of the situation. Are you in a formal setting, like a professional event? Or are you in an informal setting, like a cafe or a friend's party? A confident speaker knows how to read the room and adjust their language. For a formal situation, a polished greeting works wonders. A simple, "Hello, my name is Jennifer. It's a pleasure to meet you," is a classic for a reason. But even better in a formal context is the contextual opener. This is where you use your shared environment to start the conversation. For instance, at a conference, you could say, "Good morning." That last speaker was so interesting, wasn't he? What did you think of his talk on the future of AI? This isn't just a random greeting, it's an invitation to a conversation about a topic you both just experienced. For an informal situation, we can be more relaxed. Here, a great opener is often a simple observation. Let's say you're in a long line at the grocery store. You see someone standing behind you with a basket full of stuff for a dinner party. You could smile and say, "Wow, you must be a great cook. That looks like a big dinner you're planning." Or maybe you're in a coffee shop and someone has a book open on the table. A simple, "That looks like an interesting book. Do you mind me asking what it's about?" is a low pressure way to start a chat. Notice how these don't require the other person to respond with a full blown conversation. A simple smile or a quick "thanks" is enough. The main thing is to just start. Let's practice crafting some openers together. I'm going to give you a few scenarios, and I want you to think of a simple, confident opening line for each one, speaking it out loud if you can. Scenario A: you're at a professional networking event. You see someone who you think works for a company you admire. You want to introduce yourself. How would you start the conversation in a way that's confident but not pushy? A great response might be, "Hi, I'm Jennifer. I've been following your company's work for a while now. I was so impressed with that new project you launched. What a fascinating piece of technology. What was your role in that?" This shows you've done your homework and you're genuinely interested in their work, which is incredibly flattering. Scenario B: you're on a bus and the person sitting next to you has an interesting t shirt with a logo from a band you love. What could you say? A simple human like response could be, "Oh, I love that band. That's a great t shirt. Have you seen them in concert?" It's a shared point of interest, it's personal, and it instantly creates a connection. Scenario C: you're in an online meeting with new colleagues, and there's a moment of silence. You notice that someone has a very interesting painting in the background of their video feed. How do you start a conversation to break the ice and make a connection? You could say, I hope you don't mind me asking, but that painting behind you is beautiful. Is it from an artist you know? This shows that you're paying attention and that you're interested in them as a person, not just a colleague. Once you've successfully started a conversation, the next challenge is to keep it from hitting a wall. This is where a lot of us get stuck. We answer a question and then silence. The secret is not to have all the answers, but to have a mental toolkit of great questions. We talked about open ended questions, and now I want to introduce a powerful technique that uses them: conversational threading. Think of a conversation as a beautiful piece of fabric. When someone says something, a detail in their sentence is like a loose thread. Your job is to gently pull on that thread to see where it leads. For example, let's say someone says, I spent all weekend baking a cake for my sister's birthday. A simple follow up question would be, was it good? But that's a dead end. A conversational thread would be to pick up on a detail and ask about it. You could say, oh, that sounds so sweet. What kind of cake did you bake for her? Is she a fan of chocolate or something else? Or you could pull on the baking thread. I've always wanted to get into bacon. What's the hardest part about it for you? Or even the sister thread. That's so thoughtful. Does your sister live close by? You see? The single sentence, I spent all weekend baking a cake for my sister's birthday, is a treasure chest of opportunities. A confident communicator doesn't just respond, they explore the other person's world. Let's practice this right now. I'm going to give you a detailed sentence from a person, and I want you to think of a great, open ended follow up question that pulls on a specific thread. Someone says, I've been learning to play the ukulele for about 6 months now, and it's a lot harder than it looks, but it's so much fun to finally be able to play a few of my favorite songs. What are some threads you could pull on here? Think about it for a moment. You could pull on the ukulele thread. What made you choose the ukulele instead of the guitar? Or you could pull on the 6 months thread. Did you take a class or were you teaching yourself? Or you could pull on the favorite songs thread. That's amazing. What's the first song you learned to play all the way through? All of these questions show you were truly listening and not just waiting for your turn to talk. Now, what happens when the other person asks you a question? This is where a lot of us feel the most panic. The key here is to learn how to turn a simple answer into a mini story. A short, one-word answer is a dead end. A story is a wide open road. Let's use an example. The other person asks, where are you from? The short, unconfident answer is, I'm from Tokyo. The conversation stops. The confident, story-filled answer is, I'm from Tokyo. It's a huge, bustling city, but I grew up in a really quiet neighborhood on the outskirts, so I got to experience the peaceful side and the energetic side. I remember riding my bike to the local park every day after school, and I loved it. Have you ever been to Japan? Notice what happened there. You didn't just answer, you painted a picture. You gave them a memory. And then, most importantly, you turn the question back to them. This is a brilliant conversational technique. It shows you're a person with a rich inner world, and you're also interested in their experience as well. This is what makes you feel like an equal partner in the conversation. Let's practice this with a few prompts. I'll ask you a simple question, and I want you to give me a more detailed answer that includes a little personal story and ends with a question back to me. Your mini story practice. My question to you. What did you do last weekend? Your turn. Think of a detailed answer, maybe about something you did, saw, or learned. Then ask me a question back. Take a moment to think, and maybe even say your answer out loud. A great response might be, last weekend, I went to a festival in the city. There were so many food trucks and live music. It was such a fun, lively atmosphere. The best part was a jazz band I'd never heard before. They were incredible. Did you have a chance to do anything relaxing or fun? My question to you, what's a movie you've seen recently? Your turn. Tell me about a movie. Maybe what you liked or didn't like. Tell me a quick story about your experience watching it. Then ask me for my opinion. A great potential response. Oh, I just saw a new animated film with a friend of mine. We went to the cinema, and I was so impressed by the stunning graphics. The story was a little predictable for me, but the visual experience was worth it. Have you seen any good films lately? This technique of giving a little and asking a little is the lifeblood of a good conversation. It shows you're an interesting person, and you're also a kind person who is interested in the other person's experiences. Now, let's talk about something just as important as the words themselves: your body language and the tone of your voice. Confidence isn't just about the vocabulary you use, it's about how you present yourself. Even if your English isn't perfect, if you have confident body language, people will be more patient, more attentive, and more willing to listen. Think about what a confident person looks like. They don't have their arms crossed or their shoulders hunched over. They stand or sit up straight with an open posture. This makes you look and feel more alert and engaged. When you keep your arms uncrossed, you look open and approachable. Don't be afraid to use natural gestures with your hands to express yourself. It makes you look more animated and expressive, and it's a natural part of a human communication. And a simple, sincere smile is a universal sign of warmth and welcome. It can instantly put both you and the other person at ease. And then there's eye contact. Making eye contact is crucial. You don't have to stare at the person the whole time, of course. That can be intimidating. Instead, try the 5-second rule. Look at the person's eyes for about 5 seconds. Then briefly look away to the side or down, and then look back. This is a natural, comfortable rhythm that shows you're paying attention without making them uncomfortable. Finally, let's talk about the most powerful instrument you have: your voice. A confident voice isn't necessarily a loud one, but it is clear and steady. When we're nervous, we tend to rush our words. Try to consciously slow down. This not only makes you easier to understand, but also gives you time to think and breathe. Try to project your voice. Don't mumble. Speak from your diaphragm, not your throat, as if you're trying to talk to someone a few feet away from you. And please vary your pitch and tone. No one wants to listen to a monotone voice. Use your voice to express excitement or curiosity. When you ask a question, your pitch should go up at the end. When you make a statement, it should go down. Let's practice this right now. I'm going to say some phrases and I want you to repeat them after me, paying close attention to how you sound. Phrase 1. It's a pleasure to meet you. Say it slowly, clearly, and with a slight smile in your voice. Phrase 2. What did you think of that? Say it with genuine curiosity, with your pitch going up on the word that. Phrase 3. That's a really interesting point. Say it with sincerity, maybe a little bit of enthusiasm. Phrase 4. I have a question about that. Say it calmly and clearly without sounding aggressive. By practicing these simple human expressions, you're training your brain and your body to feel more comfortable in English. It's not about being a perfect speaker, it's about being a confident communicator. Now, what happens when you face a tricky situation? Even the most confident speakers can have a moment where they don't understand something or they make a mistake. These moments are not failures, they are opportunities to show even more grace and confidence. It's completely normal to not understand every word. The most confident thing you can do is to admit it and ask for clarification. You can use simple, polite phrases like, pardon me or excuse me, to ask someone to repeat what they said. A more detailed and very polite option is to say, I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you say that again? Or if you hear a word or a phrase you don't know, just ask. A confident person is not afraid to say, what does that word mean? It shows you're engaged in the conversation and genuinely want to learn. And what about those awkward moments of silence? It happens to everyone. Instead of panicking, use it as a moment to think. You can use simple filler phrases to buy yourself a few seconds. A fantastic one is, that's a great question. It buys you a moment and also compliments the other person. You could also say, let me think about that for a second, which is honest and direct. Or, that's an interesting point, is a good way to acknowledge what they said before you respond. Let's practice using these techniques. I'm going to give you a scenario and I want you to respond with one of our confidence phrases. Scenario A, someone just said a long, complicated sentence and you only understood a few words. What do you say? A great response would be, I'm so sorry. I'm still learning some new vocabulary. Could you repeat that one more time? This is both polite and honest, and it gives the other person a chance to rephrase. Scenario B, someone asks you a question that you don't know the answer to, and you feel a little panicked. What do you say to buy yourself some time? You could respond with, wow, that's a really good question. I've never thought about it that way before. Let me think about that for a second. Scenario C, you've been talking to someone for a while and you feel like the conversation is a bit one-sided. How do you gracefully change the topic? You could say, this has been so interesting to hear about. You know, that reminds me of something I saw on the news this morning. This acknowledges what they said and then gently pivots to a new topic. We've covered so much today. We've talked about changing our mindset, starting conversations, asking great questions, telling mini stories, and handling tricky situations with grace. Now it's time to put it all together into a full flowing conversation. We're going to do a final practice where I'm going to be your conversation partner. I'll start and I want you to respond. Remember to use everything we've learned: a confident tone, a story-filled answer, and a question back to me. Ready? And that's it. That's how you build confidence. It's not about being perfect. It's about being prepared, being present, and being yourself. Every single conversation is a chance to practice, not a chance to fail. The more you try, the more comfortable you'll get. The more comfortable you get, the more confident you'll be. And the more confident you are, the more opportunities you'll have to connect with people from all over the world. Thank you so much for joining me today. I truly hope that you'll take these lessons and apply them in your life starting now. Go out there and talk to someone, anyone, and remember you've got this. I'm Jennifer, and this has been English in Advance. Until next time, keep practicing, keep improving, and keep talking with confidence. Goodbye for now.